Around 2,200 kilometres north of Perth in Western Australia is the coastal town of Broome, named in the 1880s after the Governor of Western Australia, Sir Frederick Broome. Originally settled as a port to service the pearling industry, today Broome's a popular tourist destination, and its population swells from around 14,000 people to over 45,000 during the dry season. One of the best known locations at Broome is beautiful Cable Beach. Stretching for 22.5 kilometres, it's renowned for its white sand and it's a favourite of tourists and Broome locals. In 1889, a telegraph cable was laid underwater between Broome and Singapore. The telegraph cable came ashore at Cable Beach and hence its name. For anglers, Broome is a place with an incredible number of fishing options. And one of the best things about fishing out of Broome is that for most of the year it has very little swell and light winds. This means most fishing can be comfortably done out of small trailer boats. On this trip to Broome, I was meeting up with Victorian expat Ben Little. He's lived and worked here for the past 11 years. With the boat and the car packed, we're heading up the coast to camp and fish at one of Ben's favourite fishing spots.
I know I've said it before, but we really do live in the lucky country. This is far north WA, and Benno, back down there was Broome. Where are we now, mate?
Mate, we're a little bit up the coast, probably about 50 kilometres.
Yes.
Up at a place called Bard Creek, and it's going to give us some access to some really good fishing up north.
All the offshore sort of sports fishing.
Yeah, well, you name it, mate. We're pretty much going to have it, hopefully.
Awesome. The sun's getting really low in the sky, but part of our great adventure is that we're swagging it on the beach. We've got to make a campfire, we've got to get the boat and the gear unpacked. That sun's going to set, cook ourselves some dinner, and mate, I cannot wait for tomorrow.
Oh, you better believe it, mate. It's going to go off.
Let's hope so. Let's get the gear unpacked, mate.
After a very comfortable night's sleep in the swags, the next morning brought with it some classic Kimberley weather. Clear skies, no wind, flat seas. Perfect for a beach launch. Once the gear was in the boat, it was time to get the good oil from Ben on what he had planned fishing-wise for the day ahead.
All right, Benno, I think that is finally everything. We can now go fishing, mate.
Right, well, let's just get it all closed up and we'll just drive down a bit, just where it's a bit calmer.
Now, what is the plan for today? Obviously, we're going fishing somewhere north of Broome, but what are you thinking we're going to do?
Mate, we're going to head up from here, obviously. We're going to head up north to a place called Talboys Rock.
Sounds good.
It's a pretty epic place.
Okay.
We're pretty much probably going to target on the lures today.
Yes, jigging and stuff like
jigging,
that.
Jigging, yep. So we're going to hit up your Queenies, your Mackies.
Awesome.
Your Trevallies, anything closer to the bottom like your Blue Line Emperors and your Chinamen and your Coral Trout.
Sounds too good.
We'll just see how we go anyway.
That's it. One thing I can pretty well guarantee, and one thing I know from in past fishing up in anywhere in the world, I suppose, when you hear of a rock, an island or a bommy in the ocean, it generally equals good fishing.
Especially when it's like today. Look at how calm it is, mate.
Great weather. Let's get to it, mate.
All right, cool.
Alrighty, Benno, what's the best way to approach this beach launch?
Mate, I reckon what we do is we just unhitch the boat when we get close to the water.
Yep.
And I'll just get you to hold the tow rope on the front.
Sure.
And then we'll just jolt him off. It comes off really easy with those rollers, so...
Sounds good.
We're nice and calm now too, so it's all good.
Yeah, it's nice. Benno just gave me a very good tip then. I just asked him in the car, if, you know, the beaches all around this area have got hard sand, and he said some are soft, but he said a really good tip, if you see this shell grit laying around the beach, it generally means nice hard packed sand, which means it's good to drive on, which means we hopefully won't get bogged, mate. Let's go. All right, Benno, just a quick 40k run up the coast to Talboys Rock or Talboys Reef.
Yep.
And we're here. Now, mate, what's the plan? Is it just rubble bottom, or are you looking for those key areas?
No, we're just looking for that rubble bottom, sharp edges, things like that, where
Sure.
the current's pushing fish up against the reef, and that's normally where it holds.
Beautiful. I'll rig up the jig rods and a plastics rod and we'll get to it.
Yeah, no worries.
Tuna of some sort. Oh. Got him. Got him.
Gone?
Yep. Here we go. Sort of tuna. How much fun is this? A little mackie or
I
something.
think they are mackies.
Yeah,
eh?
look at it. Mackerel. Look at him.
I've got no hooks left.
Ah. That'll do it, Benno. There's a plastic on a spin rod there if you want.
I might just...
Yeah, grab the spin rod, dude. This guy's having a little dip now. He started out like a really small fish, which is not uncommon on this little light jig gear. And I think it's because the rod itself's so soft and everything's so soft that it takes the fish a few seconds to wake up. But I'm losing a bit of line now.
Oh, there's a big shark just moving around the back of the boat there, Lee, so...
I think mine just got sharked too, out the back there. He just got walloped, I think. No, it's still got tail kicked. Oh, look at that. Look at the fish there.
Yeah.
Mackerel ripping along.
So that was a good mix of fish anyway.
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
Those queenies in there with the mackies and...
Oh,
No!
after all that, I just got bitten off, I think. Well, back to the drawing board.
Big school of trevally on the surface right behind us.
There's a big school of trevally coming to the boat. Oh, wow.
See if I can get them closer with this stick bait.
Oh, they can't.
They are big fish.
Look at the mackerel. Just, oh, there's a big shark there. How are we going to land any fish, Benno?
Quite often when it's like this, it's best to leave them sit for half an
Oh!
hour. What was that?
That was a mackerel. Look at them. Oh, they're tuna. Oh no, they're big GT. Big GT. But just too many sharks, man. Oh! Oh, please tell me you got that on film. What have we got? And as is often the case on these little micro jigs, it's on the drop that you get that bite. What have we got? I was just feathering that jig down, just so it was falling a little bit slower, and then on the fall it's got a little bit more wobble to it. And it got walloped straight away. What have we got? Probably a trevally or something, I'd say. I just hope there's no sharks up his tail. Is he still there? Is he gone? I think he's gone. Yeah, he's gone. Oh, hang on. No, he's still there. He was just coming back at me. What have we got? Oh, it's a mackerel with a big shark up his tail. And he has literally just crash dived into the motor.
Where are you?
I'm all wrapped up in the motor, dude.
Do you want me to lift the motor up?
Yeah, probably. It literally crashed into the motor because he had a shark that far up his tail.
It's a mackerel. All right, you're off.
Oop, thanks, dude. There's tuna popping up everywhere now. And I think... and his trevally mates are starting to come up from down deep. Look at that. Nice to get a fish in the boat. That's also what people would call a shark mackerel. And I know they're a very sought after sort of sports fish species. They say they're good eating when they're fresh, but I'm going to let this guy go because I got very lucky there that I just pinned him in the front of the jaw, so he's
Just see the GTs under the boat.
There is thousands of trevally just coming up under the boat. I'll just pop this hook out, and I reckon it will take about a nanosecond to get hooked up again.
Just look at this.
Well done, Benno. Look at them all. There is so many. I'll pop this guy back. He's out of here. I don't know if the camera can pick them up, but there is just trevally everywhere. You right there, mate?
Got about 1 million just following him up. And it could actually serve in our favour that we've got so many fish trying to chase our fish up that the sharks might stay away.
Yeah, let's hope so, mate.
Hope so. Just that many of them.
Oh, there is so many. Look, here they come.
He's getting a bit of a bump there now. Come on.
You're winning or you're losing? You right there, mate, or the shark got him?
I think the dreaded teeth got it.
Done.
Yeah, done.
Tough problem. So many fish, so many sharks.
What have we got?
It's got whacked again, pulled out of one fish and straight into another one. This feels like a trevally. Now, Benno, you say you do get big cobia here at times too?
Yeah, mate, yeah, particularly this time of year. Well, we late August, mid to late August.
They are my unicorn fish, mate.
Oh, you've got a jewelry fish.
Oh, hooked 20 of them in my life. Haven't boated one.
No, we typically see them around here, particularly with what we're seeing at the moment. It's just such a mix of fish.
Yes.
You know, what did you just get?
I don't know. It could be
Could be an anything fish.
Could be a whatever. I just got sharked again. Look at that. Yeah. Gobble, gobble. What do we do, Benno?
Mate, we've got another option, just very short steam just over there where there's probably replicate to this, hopefully. And we'll see how we go over there, just doing the jigging.
Yep.
See if it's poppers. See if we can't get away from the sharks.
Let's hope all the sharks are here. Something you think you would never ever see, leaving really, really great fishing where there's just trevally and mackerel and stuff happening everywhere, but in the end, as all you're doing is getting fish eaten by sharks, you're just feeding the sharks and you're losing gear. This is my jig box. It's got a whole lot of jigs and little assist hooks and stuff made up. And the system I really like to use is a tiny little swivel with a split ring and then down to this orange skirt with little twin assist hooks in it. Using this method, it makes it really easy to then swap jigs. And Benny said to me, Lee, white or pink is definitely the colour in this part of the world. So I've gone to the little white 40 gram Koika jig. And with my split ring pliers, I can very easily just attach the jig because it's not a permanent sort of rig. I had a gold jig on before and I just wasn't getting that many bites. So in a matter of seconds, I've swapped this over and we're back in business. It's all about that first few seconds. What have you got there?
It's a nice tusk fish by the looks of it.
I think so. It's certainly not a trout.
Yeah. So over here, a lot of people actually eat these. These are beautiful eating.
Oh, he's a good looking animal.
We might have to get the net for this one, I reckon, Lee. Over here, we don't get ciguataria in these. So these are actually quite good eating over here.
What a beautiful looking fish. And look at those teeth. Wonder why they call them tusk fish. Look at that. Another name for these is blue bone, because apparently when you fillet them, they do have a blue tinge to their bones.
It's as blue as that, blue around the iris and that.
And I'm either snagged or I got a fish. I'm going to pass you that, Benno, because that is your fish and that's an absolute cracker. It's basically, It's a member of the parrotfish family, isn't it? Or the wrasse family?
Yep, exactly right. With choppers like that, you can see why they're called parrotfish.
Look at that. They are phenomenal fangs, and they just use that to chew stuff out of the coral and dig crabs out and do all that stuff. But just dead set amazing colours.
All right, we just pop him back, eh, Lee?
Go for it, mate.
Just slip him back in the water and he should be right to swim off.
He's off.
Straight to the bottom.
Beautiful. Look at that.
Oh, you're on.
Oh, I'm back on again. It was like he was getting his head back into the coral, mate. And I just got lucky enough to drag him back out. It's only a little fish, little trout. Look at that. And this is where this micro jigging can be so successful, because oftentimes less is more. Working these jigs oh so gently, even just bouncing up and down in the rod holder, gave this jig plenty of action. The jig itself gives it the weight, and this skirt just bounces out off the side and gives it all the movement. And that little coral trout thought it was breakfast, lunch and dinner. Doing this light jigging is a whole lot of fun. The outfit's light. I've got the blue Gamoku, I've got my little Cosmodo bait caster, and I've put a power handle on it. And the reason for the bigger, longer handle is it means I'll wind slower. And with this sort of jigging, I generally find that it works best when you just work that jig slowly. The weight of the Koika jig pulls the whole lot down, and it has a beautiful wobble to it. It's rounded on this side, and it's like a diamond V on this side, and this helps to give the jig more action. But what really helps is also this skirt hanging off the side. That wobbles around, slows the actual fall of the jig and gives it a lot more wobble through the water. One thing I love to do is just lob it out on a slight angle, and then I just feather it down nice and slow, because you'll get bites as that jig sinks down. It's sort of wobbling its way down through the water column. It's not like a long skinny jig that you use, you know, when you're fishing for kingfish or fast moving species where you're working it as quick as you can. This is all about the wobble, trying to get that jig to wobble and jiggle and do lots of fancy stuff, because we're working for sort of bottom species here. We're getting those fish that sit down near the bottom. Once it's down there, I'm just doing a very slow rise and fall. And while that might not seem like a lot, as that jig rises up, it just wriggles. There we go. It wriggles, and then as it falls, everything sort of spreads out. The jig goes one way, the skirt goes the other, and it's very attractive to all sorts of species. This is just a tiny little fish at the moment, but you saw then that rod was hardly moving, and that's the other reason for these rods being nice and soft. If the rod's too stiff, every time you move that rod tip at any speed, it just rips that jig up really quickly through the water column. And the gentle retrieve, I find, is just so good that quite often when I've been fishing with mates, they're jigging away and they're not catching anything. At the last minute, I'll stop jigging. They go, why aren't I getting a bite? And it's when they stop, that's when they get the bite. And you'll find it's a fumbly sort of tap bite as well. And that's where these little hooks really do the damage too, because a lot of your hookups are just like that, just on the corner of the jaw, just in the skin of the mouth. And for that reason, that's where the softer rod's also good. You don't pull the hooks out so often. That trout, I thought that was pretty good anyway. But this Gamoku jigging is just heaps of fun. The rods are good for anyone from kids to grandparents and everyone in between, from small fish to big fish. It's just something you should try. We had that good little stretch just back over behind us here. Plenty of coral trout and small reef species, but the urge of those bigger sort of pelagics and some bigger bottom fish is too strong. So we've come back to where we found all this bait this morning, and right on cue it's here. We've turned the sounder off, Benno's snuck in, and we're hoping we can just get 2 or 3 fish before the sharks turn up. And it's a good trick. If you're on the fish and there's heaps of sharks, leave them, because you're not going to beat the sharks. Leave them and come back later and hopefully the sharks will just move on. That's our plan anyway. What is it? It's a trevally or something? What is it?
Little GT.
Little GT. No wonder it pulled hard.
There's another one with him if you want to get your jig out.
No, that's all right. We'll get your fish in, mate. Very well done, Benno. All righty. Oh, look at that. A tiny little hook in his top lip there.
He wasn't holding on quite much.
Nah, mate, luckily they've got those tough lips on them. There you go, Benno. That is a sensational fish. And look, there's people out there that are going to go, that's not a GT. There's bigger ones around. There is much bigger GTs. We've seen them today, but you've caught it on an oversized whiting rod, mate. So that is a great fish on this sort of gear.
Yeah, well, let's spear him back and we'll let him live another day.
Well done, mate.
Nice work.